Oh boy, oh boy, oh my God, that was a lot longer than I thought it was gonna be. I did not expect a simple conversation to dilute into 15 different things, and now I gotta look here. It's a great day to be a Ravens fan. Finally getting over the hump. Wish Lamar didn't throw that pick, but other than that, it was the best performance he's had against the Steelers, so I'm cool with that. Getting over the hump was huge, and you feel that if you end up seeing them again, you feel that this team might have figured something out against them, and you hope they do learn from this and use it when they do play them. Wait, I know. There we go. Sorry, I have to do this setup here, and now I got even less time to do what I want to do. There we go. That's the picture to use. That is the picture to use. Excuse me, guys, while I do a few things here because this has to be the post-game recap, and I got to get this post-game recap out as quickly as I can because once people start coming in, it's just going to be 10,000 times worse. Like, once people come in, it's going to be 10,000 times worse. You know what? I don't think You know what? I'll stick with this. Let's go. My apologies for the delay. I went upstairs to talk to my dad in regards to the game. Because he was watching it upstairs and we were talking about the game, and I was explaining to him that the Ravens can make the playoffs if they win, but they haven't clinched the division yet, and they still will be alive for the division. So that was a whole conversation between him and me. And then it somehow diluted into me having to, like, me and my sister trying to set up his Netflix because obviously he wants to watch the game. And if anybody knows, the Christmas games are on Netflix. They're not on a specific channel. They're on Netflix. So if you don't have Netflix, you can't watch the games, which is garbage and is unfair for most people that just have regular channel, regular cable. They're really screwing those people over because if you don't have Netflix, you can't watch the game and enjoy the game, and it's unfair that that's the case. There we go. That's the background I'm looking for. See that? Good job, Marlon Humphrey. We getting into this. We are getting into this, and I will have to say my piece as much as I possibly can. I don't know when people are going to start coming over. I got to get this done as quickly as I possibly can, but great day to be a Ravens fan. Ravens getting over the hump. Lamar having his best performance against the Steelers, and even still, it was a turnover with that. One way or another, we will get a clean game versus the Steelers. At least we hope. But that's just Pittsburgh. That's just Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a tough team. Pittsburgh's a fighting team. Pittsburgh finds a way to claw themselves into keeping it competitive for the most part. But it feels good to finally be on this side. It feels fantastic. It feels fantastic to finally be on this side of the matchup, especially because it's a situation where Baltimore just took the game over. The game was close, and they were 2 seconds away from icing this game until Lamar threw that ugly interception. But here comes Marlon Humphrey to basically ice an all-pro appearance for him. If Marlon Humphrey's not all-pro this year, I don't know what we're doing. Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton have been playing at an all-pro level this entire season. If they don't get an all-pro selection, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm pretty sure both Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton are top candidates that are leading the Pro Bowl race for their specific position, or one of the tops that are leading the Pro Bowl. So there's no way you can tell me that they're not going to be all pros this year because they've played like all pros. And it would just be weird if they're not all pros. Sorry, I got to do some of this final setup here. I want to change this and put that, and there we go. Now we've got the proper look. We've got the proper post game. Everybody's filling in. I don't know how many corners make all pro. We are here. We are ready. We are excited. And let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Ravens flock. After 15 long, tireless games, the Ravens have officially booked their ticket into the playoffs. They have finally booked their ticket into the postseason. And what better way for them to book their ticket into the postseason than with a defining win over the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that you have struggled with, a team that has had your number 8 of the last 9 matchups they have won, a team that is leading the division and had the opportunity to win the AFC North today in your building. The Ravens started off the game the way they've started off every game against Pittsburgh. They had multiple times in this game where they looked like they were making the same mistakes against Pittsburgh, but somehow they found a way to overcome their incompetence, get it done, and deliver a statement win. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is the type of win that can give the fan base confidence. Now, most of us are going to be very grounded. We're going to understand what a team is, and we're going to assess on a week-to-week basis in terms of the team's chances come January because we're 3 weeks away until the playoff starts. But this is the type of win that can bring confidence into the fan base. We just wanted to see you get one of these. You had to get some sort of defining win against Pittsburgh. Everybody was saying it. The final test for the Ravens is going to be against the Steelers. If this team can beat the Steelers and find a way to win the division, then that means Baltimore will be going into the playoffs on a 4-game winning streak, beating the Steelers, stealing the division from them, and they'd be red hot heading into the playoffs. A defining win like this brings confidence to the fan base like, okay, maybe they can get over the hump. Maybe they can conquer their demons. If we see the Steelers in the playoffs, I can feel more confidence that they can beat this team come postseason if they just don't hurt themselves. This is the type of game that can propel you to go on a run in January. And this is what we wanted to see. This is what we wanted to see. Because I came into the season saying, I have zero expectations. I don't put expectations on the Ravens anymore. But there are a few games where you will be tested. And you've got to at least show up in some of these tests. Because we, as a fan base, we look at these games as huge tests. And if you don't show up to answer the call, we are going to be concerned as a fan base in terms of your chances to go compete for the Lombardi Trophy and actually go on a run to get to the Super Bowl and win the championship. Week 1 against Kansas City, that was your first test. You didn't pass. The matchup against Pittsburgh, that was a test. You didn't pass. The game against the Eagles, that was a test. You did not pass. On the flip side, there technically were some tests for you that you did pass. Beating Buffalo in week 4, that was a test, especially given the circumstance we were record-wise. That was a test. You passed it. The 2 games against Cincinnati, even though we've never had problems with Cincinnati, that is a tough team that can beat you and could potentially be in the playoffs, depending on how circumstances are. Those were tests. You passed them. The Ravens have passed some tests, but the main tests, the main focus was Pittsburgh and Kansas City, because against everybody else, Baltimore has a winning record, or at least they're tied with a 500 record. Baltimore does not struggle with any other team other than the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are the 2 teams that has consistently had our numbers. So those were your 2 main tests. You failed in Kansas City, you failed in Pittsburgh. Both games were close, both games you came up short. We just needed you to pass one of these tests. So in a situation where the division's on the line, you have a chance to clinch a playoff spot. You've got a test against this Steelers team that's coming off of a humiliating loss against the Philadelphia Eagles, looking to prove themselves, looking to win the division, clinch the AFC North, and celebrate in your house, in your building, in your locker room. They were ready for that. You had to answer the call. And guess what? They did. That is what I'm talking about. You have to give us something. We as a fan base want to see you answer the call. Conquer your demons, answer the call, pass the test, show us something that can give us confidence that you can win in the playoffs. And that was the type of game that we saw today. Does that erase a season of competence? No, if you watch this game as well, there were still some issues here left and right that could potentially harm the Ravens come playoff time. But overall, they passed the tests and got a defining win. Out of all the games this year, this is their most defining win because this is a team they've struggled with. Blowing out Buffalo, you've played well against Buffalo. Our defense has played well against Buffalo. We've done well against Buffalo. Beating the Bucks, beating the Chargers, dominating the Denver Broncos. We expect you to do this. Against 98% of teams out there, we dominate them. Against 98% of the league, we dominate and we win those games. But the 2% that you don't, that's where you got to answer the call. And Pittsburgh was one of those two teams. So you have them coming into your house with a chance to win the division. What are you going to do about it? Well, we're going to find the way to win. And they found a way to win. And that's all that matters. They answered the call. They passed the test. At least one of those tests. And that is what we wanted to see as a fan base. Now the fans can have a little bit more confidence that this team has a shot to get something going in the playoffs. But what's going to matter most is how they finish the season off. You've got the Texans on Wednesday. And then the next week, you've got the Cleveland Browns. You need to win both of those games and hope Pittsburgh loses to Cincinnati or Kansas City. If they lose one of those two games and Baltimore wins their final two games, they're going to go into the playoffs on a 4-game winning streak. They would have stolen the division from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they would get to host a playoff game against the Chargers or the Broncos. That would be a perfect scenario for Baltimore. They'd be heading into playoffs red hot, ready for the postseason. That is what you need to see. That is what you need to see. So, how did the Ravens beat the Steelers? That is a huge question. How did the Ravens beat the Steelers? How were they able to get it done? How were they able to get it done against a team that has had their number? 8 of the last 9 matchups, they have had their number. How did the Steelers put it all together, get it done, handle business, and put themselves in the position to be able to beat the Steelers? Well, let's start with this. Baltimore, the number one aspect that helped in this case was the fact that the offense put some points up. Take away the 7 points from Marlon Humphrey. The offense scored 27 points. The offense scored 27 points. Baltimore has not scored 20-plus points against the Pittsburgh Steelers since 2020. Basically, the last time Lamar played the Steelers in Baltimore was the last time we put up 20-plus points. And this is the first time Lamar has played the Steelers in Baltimore with the crowd in front of him. So it's been 4 years since we have scored 20-plus points against the Steelers. 4 years. That plays a role into you beating them. Because Pittsburgh only scored 17 points. I was saying it all week. If Baltimore can get to 20-plus points, they will beat this team. Go look at the matchups. If they can get to 20-plus points, they will beat the Steelers. That was all they needed to do. They can beat Pittsburgh. They just need to score offensively, and they were able to do it. Lamar Jackson, 15 of 23, 207, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, a passer rating of 115. Minus the pick, Lamar was sensational. He made great throws. He made great reads. The throw to Zay Flowers to give him 100 yards, that was a perfect throw by Lamar. Beautiful. The throw to Bateman at the back of the end, it was a perfect throw by Lamar. Lamar was diming and dealing. Other than the one dumb interception, Lamar was sensational. This is the best he has played against any Pittsburgh Steelers team. He's only been there for, 5, 6 matchups? This is the best he's played. This is the best he's played. No question, this is the best he's played. It's the best he's played. And I'm glad to see Lamar Jackson play this well against the Steelers and ball out. Because it at least gives you confidence. If he meets up against Pittsburgh again, he can do the same. Baltimore just needs to get over the hump. This is the thing about Baltimore. I promise you, if this team gets over the hump, we wouldn't have to worry about them moving forward. They just need to get over the hump. When you're right near the hump and you're trying to get over it and you keep making the mistakes, it starts to get to you mentally. But when you can get over the hump, when you know you can beat this team and you showcase it and you go out there and beat them, your confidence raises. Baltimore can sit back and say, you know what, next time we meet up against the Steelers, whether it's in the postseason or next year, we feel confident we can beat them because we showed we can. That confidence builds. You get over the hump. It's the same thing we're dealing with Kansas City right now. If we can just beat the Chiefs, I promise you, we feel like we would never lose to them again if we could just get over the hump, specifically in the postseason. So that's just where we're at right now. Lamar Jackson putting up his best performance against the Pittsburgh Steelers matters. But you know what also matters? Feeding the king. Give the ball to Derrick Henry and let him eat. This is the formula to win in the playoffs for Baltimore. You feed the king, get him involved, let him go out there and wreck worlds, and then you let Lamar kill you in the passing game. Pick your poison. Derrick Henry, 24 carries, 162 yards rushing in this game. That's what you need. That's what you need. Derrick Henry was running all over the Steelers defense. They couldn't stop him. Derrick Henry was doing whatever whatever he wanted to the Steelers defense. This is something they didn't do in the first matchup in Pittsburgh. They stopped giving him the ball. They didn't give him the carries. Matter of fact, let me go check the difference between this game and the last time we faced off against the Steelers. When we faced off against the Steelers, we did not give this man enough carries. Derrick Henry in that game at Pittsburgh against the Steelers, Derrick Henry had 13 carries for 65 yards. So let me get this straight. 13 carries for 65 yards. He had an extra 11 carries in this game and ran for over 100. It's simple mathematics here. Do I need to explain any more than this? It's simple mathematics here. The more carries you give Derrick Henry, the more involved you get him in, the longer the game goes, the better results you're going to get. Like, what else do you need to see? Feed Derrick Henry. Give him the ball and let him go to work. If we do that, I promise you in the playoffs, we will have the best possible result. I'm not guaranteeing giving the ball to Derrick Henry is automatically going to get us a Super Bowl championship. We could choose to run with Derrick Henry. If Lamar does not play well in the postseason, we're still going home. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, oh yeah, give the ball to Derrick Henry and things magically going to work out. No, you got to give the ball to Derrick Henry and Lamar's just got to be Lamar. Now again, mistakes are going to be made here and there. It is what it is. You know, you just got to deal with the mistakes how it comes. But you have to get Derrick Henry involved. You just have to. You just have to. 24 carries for 162 yards. Yeah, that'll beat the Steelers. That will absolutely beat the Steelers. 24 carries, 162 yards. That's how you beat Pittsburgh. We ran for over 200 yards of offense on this team. That's how you beat the Steelers, man. You've got to run the football. The formula is there. Baltimore needs to make sure they give Derrick Henry 20 to 25 carries. He has to have a minimum of 20, a maximum of 30. I would like him to have 25 carries if we can. But if he has less than 25 carries and we're still eating, it's perfectly fine. But Derrick Henry needs to be involved. And you saw how he was in the game late in the game, right? That needs to be the formula. Derrick Henry should not be on the sideline late in these games. Go look at some of the losses. Derrick Henry's just standing there in the sideline, and we're busy just trying to throw the ball and having Justice Hill back there. I love Justice Hill. Sending prayers up. He suffered a concussion. He will not be playing against the Texans. We can just roll him out right now. He's not playing on Wednesday. You suffer a concussion on Saturday, you're not playing on Wednesday. We'll see him for the season finale against the Browns. But I love Justice Hill. He's great. He's been fantastic. He's developed. Since he got in 2019, he's developed. He's been a very, very intricate piece to this offense. I love Justice Hill. But late in games, Derrick Henry needs to be out there. I don't care what you want to tell me. Derrick Henry needs to be out there. He has to be. It just makes sense. So, Derrick Henry, 162 yards here. He just dominated the Steelers. They couldn't stop him. And that consistent capability of running the football was what allowed us to continue to be successful in drives. We had a 96-yard touchdown drive. A 96-yard touchdown drive. That matters. That matters. Fantastic. Zay Flowers, 5 catches, 100 yards. Shout out to Zay Flowers. The Ravens also tweeted this out as well. Shout out to Zay Flowers, man. Shout out to Zay Flowers. Let me go to the Ravens aspect here. I don't care about what Stephen A. Smith got to say. Get off my screen. Right here, they showcased it as well. Oh, they're doing the post-game interviews. I'll check that out later. Actually, I might check this out afterwards. Hey, look, Patrick Queen. Respect between old teammates. You know Ravens fans don't care about that. Dude, I just realized this too. Okay. So many things happened here. They're posting this. So, Zay Flowers has officially eclipsed 1,000 receiving yards. 1,000 receiving yards for Zay Flowers. Shout out to him. He becomes, the second Ravens receiver that's had 1,000 yards. When's the last time we've had a 1,000-yard receiver other than Hollywood? Hollywood was the first in a long time. And then Zay Flowers happened again. I need to see 1,000-yard seasons for receivers. I gotta check this out. Not 100, not 100, 1,000. How many times in franchise history have we had a receiver to get 1,000? Derek Alexander, 96. Michael Jackson, 97. Both Michael Jackson and Derek Alexander had a 1,000 yards in 96, even though that team was trash. Alexander did it in 97. Wow, we've actually had a couple times. So, since Mike Wallace. Actually, no. Yeah, Mike Wallace. So, Zay Flowers becomes the third. Wow, we've actually had a. You know what? We don't speak on it that much. And it's not like we've had the best of history with receivers getting 1,000 yards. Derek Alexander, Michael Jackson, Quadri Ishmael, Derek Mason, which I knew he had. Derek Mason for like 5 straight years. Yeah, in Derek Mason 05, 07, 08, 09. Not 5 straight years. He didn't have an 06. But 4 times with us, he had 1,000 yards. So, yeah, Alexander, Jackson, Quadri, Derek Mason. Torrey Smith had it in 2013. Steve Smith Sr. had it in 2014. Mike Wallace had it in 2016. Marquise Brown had it in 2021. And Zay Flowers had it just this year, breaking it 1,016. So Zay Flowers becomes the 9th Ravens receiver to eclipse 1,000 yards in the season. So congrats to him. Now here's the fun part. The Ravens' season record for a receiver having receiving yards is Michael Jackson with 1,201. He had that in 96. Zay Flowers is at 1,016. By the way, we could take a jab at Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown is at 1,008. I'm just saying. We could take a shot if we want. He finished the season with 1,008 receiving yards. Zay's at 1,016 with 2 games to go. Zay Flowers has a chance to be our all-time leader for our wide receivers in receiving yards because Mark Andrews had a monster year in 2021. So, congratulations to Zay Flowers for 1,000 yards. Lamar Jackson, with that last pass that he made to Mark Andrews, he eclipses 37 touchdown passes, which is single-season high career, and it's the franchise record. He surpasses his 2019 mark of 36. So Lamar's 37 touchdown passes with 2 games to go. He's probably throwing for 40 touchdowns. We can put that out there. So Lamar's going to probably throw for 40 touchdowns. He'll probably be around 5 interceptions maybe. We'll see how things go. But, yeah, Lamar doing his thing. Zay Flowers, congrats to him for 1,000 yards. Derrick Henry being Derrick Henry. How much does Derrick Henry have right now? Because, I mean, he had 162. Good on him. So, congrats to Zay. He did his thing. Other than that, Bateman made a fantastic catch. His only reception in this game, he made a fantastic catch for a 14-yard touchdown. Shout out to him. Right now, I feel like in some cases, Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman are fighting for that number 1 wide receiver spot. But I think they're a perfect 1-2 punch because it's working out right now. Likely caught himself a touchdown, 3 catches, 29 yards. Mark Andrews, 4 catches, 37 yards, a touchdown. Not a lot of yards for our receivers because Lamar only passed for 207. And it makes sense. If Lamar passes for 207, that means Derrick Henry's going off. Derrick Henry had 162. Lamar had 207 passing yards. We finished with 220 rushing yards. So that's over 400 yards of offense. Makes sense as to why Lamar would only have 207 passing yards. But yeah, our receivers did a great job. Guys were doing their thing. Zay Flowers had 2 drops, but he still balled out. Shout out to him. And yeah, the offense did their job. The offense scored points. The offense showed up against the Steelers. How crazy is that? You show up offensively against the Steelers. You are one of the best offenses in the National Football League. A high-octane offense. You're a top 5 offense. You showed up against Pittsburgh's defense. Finally puts points up. Good for you. Good for you for showing up. You needed to do so. So shout out to you. But that wasn't the primary reason that was the primary reason we won, but that wasn't the only reason we won. We got to talk about this defense. Okay. Shout out to Marlon Humphrey, player of the game. Pick 6 on Russell Wilson to ice all of this. Shout out to Kyle Hamilton, All-Pro safety. He read Russell Wilson like a book. He turned on the afterburners. Calvin Austin was streaking down the middle of the field on 4th down. He was gonna get a wide open touchdown. You had Kyle Hamilton turn on the burners, run right there, and nearly pick off Russell Wilson. Basically getting that done and basically causing a turnover on downs. Kyle Hamilton was all over the field today, just doing his thing, balling out, playing like the all-pro safety he is. So shout out to Kyle Hamilton for being clutch. Shout out to Kyle Van Noy, who had 1.5 sacks. That's the other person I forgot to say. I talked about Lamar. I talked about Zay Flowers. I forgot about this. Shout out to Kyle Van Noy, a career-high 10.5 sacks. Career high for him. He's having a fantastic year. Career high 10.5 sacks. You know, when we got Kyle Van Noy last year, I did not expect him to be this effective. When we picked him up, because nobody signed him, he was at home, he wasn't on the team. We picked him up in week 4, week 5 of last year, and brought him in, and I said, hey, he's going to be a guy that can be productive. He's going to be a guy that can do something for you. He's going to make an impact. Come to find out, he's made a fantastic impact. He had 9 sacks last year. He has 10.5 this year. Fantastic guy, fantastic season, fantastic performance. He was all over Russell Wilson, constantly putting pressure on him. Shout out to him. So shout out to Kyle Hamilton. Shout out to Marlon Humphrey. Shout out to Kyle Van Noy. Shout out to, who else do I want to call out here? We can send a shout out to Roquan Smith. Again, 10 tackles in this game. He was doing his stuff. Shout out to him. Shout out to Michael Pierce, man. Michael Pierce was doing a great job in stopping some of the runs, but he also got a sack on Russell Wilson. Nnamdi Madubuike had half a sack on Russell Wilson. He put a lot of pressure on him today. So shout out to him. Shout out to Ardarius Washington. Ardarius Washington is the first guy that stepped up and said, I'm going to make a play. I was sitting there watching the defense and saying, somebody has to make a play. This was right after it was a 7-7 game. Baltimore decided to run the ball 3rd and 1 with Derrick Henry, which you should. And then I think it was Patrick McCarry or somebody messed up on a block on that 3rd and 1 sequence, and you have Derrick Henry getting tackled behind the line. Now we got to punt the football. The Steelers take that. They go down the field. And Russell Wilson's running all over our defense. And I'm just saying, somebody pop this dude. He takes a chance. He's got free space. He's running inside the 20, inside the 15, inside the 10, inside the 5. Ardarius Washington watches Russell Wilson with free space. He's about to score a touchdown. Washington runs up, pops him, forces a fumble. We recover. The first guy to step up and make a play. Ardarius Washington. Shout out to you, my friend. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, man. What's going on, Loyal to Houston? I will see you in 4 days. By the way, man, that was a tough one. Forget about the loss. It was Kansas City. You're going up against them. You're in their building. It was going to be a tough loss. You lost by 8. It's fine. Tank Dell might be out for the rest of the season. That's the brutal loss here. Tank Dell being out for the rest of the season. You know, he had a promising rookie season. He was so fantastic. He suffered a season-ending injury. He worked, went through rehab, came back to play. He's been great this season, been making plays, and he scored a beautiful touchdown. Beautiful touchdown, just to suffer another potential season-ending injury. That one hurts. You hate to see a young man go out there. He's performing at a high level. He suffers an injury. He goes through the process of the recovery and the therapy and working his way back to being 100%. He comes back out there, continues to show what he can do, the talent, the ability, and then he suffers another injury. 2 years in and 2 potential season-ending injuries just hurts. So prayers up for Tank Dell. That one was brutal. That one was brutal. So now, I'm not going to lie. We were talking about this yesterday. The Texans might want to go get Deontay Johnson. It's crazy to say. They don't have receivers. The only person that's left is Nico Collins. And Nico Collins came back from an injury that kept him out for some time. Stephon Diggs is out with a season-ending injury. Tank Dell is out with a season-ending injury potentially now. We'll find out. We will find out. But based on what happened, he's probably done for the season. So now you've lost your top 2. You've lost 2 of your 3 top receivers. You've got to go get somebody. It might be Deontay Johnson. It might be Deontay Johnson. I'm not even joking. It might be Deontay Johnson. That's actually a team that can need him. Buffalo will be fine. Kansas City will be fine. Pittsburgh, they just need George Pickens back. But Houston, they don't have any more receivers. It's just Nico Collins and who now? Nico Collins and who? Well, I mean, Dalton Schultz. But, that's your tight end. You need a receiver. This is serious. This is serious. I think the Houston Texans are going to have to pursue Deontay Johnson. They're going to have to. There's nobody else. It's either you go for Odell or you go for Deontay. Pick your poison. But you have to get somebody. You absolutely have to get somebody. All I can say right now is damn. Like legitimately, all I can say is damn. This is actually tough. Michael Thomas, I don't know. Has Michael Thomas done anything? Like at least with Odell, he's played some time this year. He's been on the field to have some playing time. Deontay Johnson was playing well for the Panthers before he came to Baltimore. Michael Thomas hasn't been on the roster. Do you want to try that? There's 2 games left in the season. I'd rather have somebody that's at least played this season try to come in and do something. That would be my answer. So I think Deontay Johnson might have to be the answer that the Texans go for. Because we talked about not Houston. We talked about Buffalo. We talked about Kansas City. We talked about Pittsburgh. Houston actually needs receivers now. With Tank Dell potentially done for the season, you need receivers. So I think Houston has to be that team. They have to be that team that's going to go out and go get Deontay Johnson. If he clears waivers, it's going to have to be them. But yeah, shout out to the defense, man. Defense did their jobs, man. Darius Washington gets the party going by forcing the fumble against Russell Wilson. Kyle Van Noy constantly harassing Russell Wilson and getting 1.5 sacks, constantly putting pressure on him, alongside Nnamdi Madubuike, alongside Odafe Owe, and shout out to David Ojabo. He didn't get any sacks, but the dude was constantly putting pressure on Russell Wilson. The pick 6 that happened was primarily because David Ojabo got pressure on Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson had to rush the shot and do a pick. So yeah, shout out to David Ojabo as well. But yeah, this defense, they did their jobs. This defense did their jobs. They handled business. They got it done. Shout out to these guys, man. Shout out to these guys for just playing well. You've got to love what you saw from the Ravens today. This was really one of those games where you just love what you saw as a whole. You love watching the Ravens get over the hump. And that matters, man. That matters to see them get over the hump. Because when you can get over the hump, the sky's the limit for you. And it's the perfect time for this team to get over the hump. Who else should I give credit to on this defense? I talked about Roquan, Hamilton, Van Noy, gave some credit to Madubuike, Darius Washington. Not much really to say there. Brandon Stevens made a play. He stopped the run. Guys, Brandon Stevens still kind of an issue. Brandon Stevens is still kind of an issue. He keeps getting cooked in man coverage. I keep watching the guy be in the vicinity to make a play, and he ain't making a play. Yeah, I gave credit to Michael Pierce. I said he got a sack, and he was doing a lot. He was doing a great job at stopping the run. Like, he was constantly there. So I've given credit to Ojabo. I've given credit to Pierce, Darius Washington, Marlon Humphrey, Roquan Smith. I've given credit to pretty much everybody on the defense. But Brandon Stevens keeps getting cooked, and at what point do we say enough is enough? The only reason they couldn't consistently move the ball is because George Pickens was not there. And we know the Steelers would have constantly moved. The Ravens don't move their corners. Where you are on the field is where you stay. Which is why teams, they constantly move their receivers around with Baltimore. Why? Because they know they can just pick on Brandon Stevens. You're not going to move Marlon Humphrey or Nate Wiggins on me? Okay, let me move my receiver here. I guarantee if George Pickens was playing, Brandon Stevens would have been on the coverage all the game. All game. Offensive line was looking competent, and well, no, they allowed a sack. Ronnie Stanley, the strip sack that happened in the first drive where Ronnie Stanley recovered it, thankfully, but the strip sack that happened on the opening drive, that was a sack. Matter of fact, I gotta check. I'm pretty sure Pittsburgh sacked Lamar like twice in this game. Let me see. Pittsburgh's defense, no, they only got one sack. That was the strip sack. So the strip sack is the only one that's happened. But other than that, yeah, they didn't really sack Lamar. Yeah, Lamar is constantly running around and adding to that. But that's nasty to show me the pick. But yeah, they only had one sack in this game. So the offensive line, they did a relatively solid job in pass protection. I'll say they did a relatively solid job. I wouldn't say they did the best of jobs, But I think they did a relatively solid job. This is actually probably one of the better jobs they've done all season, because you were going up against the Steelers front seven. And yes, TJ Watt was not healthy. He made no impact in this game. TJ Watt was not healthy. I get it. But that's still the Steelers front seven. And the offensive line held up relatively well against them. You still got the penalties that were happening here. You still had some missed blocks here and there. But other than that, you got to give credit. You've got to give credit to how the offensive line was able to hold up. So, shout out to them. Shout out to the offensive line for doing their job. But other than that, we don't really have anything else to really talk about for the most part. Oh, yeah, Rosengarten was doing his job, too. Other than that, there's not much to talk about. We talked about the offense. We talked about the defense. Shout out to Justin Tucker. He made all his kicks. Shout out to Justin Tucker. That 51-yard field goal, he iced that perfectly. If Tucker has gotten back in the zone, we should be good to go for the playoffs. Jordan Stout still having some issues with him. That punt that he had was awful. He's so iffy. He's up and down. Jordan Stout is up and down. That is concerning for me. I don't need Jordan Stout to continue to be up and down. That is a problem. I want my punter to be able to consistently be well punching the football. But other than that, I don't think there's anything to really complain about. The Ravens were able to relatively dominate this game. Overall, when we look at the total stats, when we go play by play, Baltimore had 418 total yards of offense. Pittsburgh had 315. Baltimore had 1 turnover. Pittsburgh, we forced 2. Baltimore had 25 first downs. Pittsburgh had 19. Oh, here we go. This is important. This is very important. Can we talk about this? This is the most important thing out of all of this. Forget about everything I said. Guys, forget about everything I said for the entire stream. Baltimore, in this game, they committed 2 penalties for 10 yards. Forget everything I said. Forget about the offense scoring points. Forget about the defense creating turnovers. Baltimore committed 2 penalties for 10 yards the entire game. This team leads the league in penalties, and they committed 2 penalties in the entire game against Pittsburgh in a divisional game. That might be the most impressive thing they've done all season. 2 penalties. I just realized that. We were not getting called for penalties. 2 penalties for 10 yards. That's what they did today. That's the most impressive thing this team did all game. That's the most impressive thing. That shows discipline. This is what gets me. You're showing you can be a disciplined team, not committing penalties. Please continue to do that. You can't be committing the amount of penalties you're doing at this high of a rate in the playoffs. You're just going to lose in the first round. You cannot continue to do that. So it's good to see that they actually came out here and made sure to not commit these penalties. So shout out to them for doing that. Other than that, there's nothing else for me to really talk about for the most part. Baltimore got the win. Lamar shined. Derrick Henry shined. Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton should be first-team All-Pro. Ardarius Washington should get more love for the Pro Bowl, but it is what it is. And yeah, Baltimore handled their business. They got the job done, and they got the win. So Baltimore advances to 10-5. Pittsburgh falls to 10-5. Baltimore clinches a playoff spot, which, guys, I'll probably talk about this later on. I might make a whole video about this. Let's just sit back and enjoy the fact that the Ravens are in the playoffs. It's a long season. The Ravens are in the playoffs, and they're healthy. That's all that matters. Let's just go see what they do in January. They're healthy, and they've made the playoffs. That's all that matters. We'll go from there. They're healthy, and they made the playoffs. We'll go from there. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this game. That's pretty much my recap here. How long did we take? We took 38 minutes for a recap. I think that's good. I'm going to look at some of these comments from you guys. I got to go through this because, obviously, if you can't hear in the background, my family's here. So, I got my cousins here and everything. I got to wrap this up and then go say hi to them. So, I'm going to look at some of these comments and we're going to call it a day. Marlon Humphrey getting that pick 6 couldn't have come at a better time. It was the perfect time to get that pick 6. Marlon Humphrey he sealed the win. Player of the game. Marlon Humphrey is the player of the game. That pick sealed it for us. Big game from King Henry. Yes. 162 rushing yards. Needed that. Straight blowout. Domination. Love it. Feels good to spank those frauds. That interception was ugly. Yeah, that was a bad throw by Lamar. He was expecting Bateman to keep going, but and the pressure was coming. I just don't think you make that type of throw. First of all, why were you running it? Derrick Henry just took you to the goal line. Just hand the ball to him. First down should have been a handoff to Henry, but no, let's run a play-action fake here. And then Lamar throws a bad pass. Whatever. It is what it is at the end of the day. Happy holidays, Steelers. Yeah, happy holidays to them. Ooh, their Christmas may be bad. Imagine this. They lost to the Ravens today. If they lose on Christmas Day, they know the division is no longer in their hands. Oh, that's going to be a terrible Christmas for the Steelers. To have the advantage in the division and just lose it at the end, that's horrible for them. But it'll be great for us. You know, Christmas for us will be awesome. It's about time. Lamar is 2-4. Yeah, it is about time. He's 2-4. I'm glad he's 2-4 instead of 1-5 because 2-4 is better than 1-5. Keep building. Keep building. That's all that matters for me. Bank went crazy tonight. I'm freezing, though. Hey, man, shout out to you guys going out there and supporting the Ravens, man. We needed the home field advantage today. How many corners make All-Pro? I do not know. I would have to check that out later. This defense has turned it around the last few games. See, it's funny how the defense turned it around. All you had to do was bench Marcus Williams, and all of a sudden everything changes. They made two major changes. They benched Marcus Williams, and they moved Kyle Hamilton back up to the free safety spot. That's it. Those two changes fixed everything with their defense. So that's great. Defense and offense putting in work. Yep. Kansas City's next for them. If they can't beat the Chiefs, man, that leaves the door wide open for Baltimore to win this division. King Henry, 24 for 162. We know the formula to win in the playoffs. I hope Baltimore's paying attention. This is the formula to win in the postseason. If you don't do it, you're going to go home. And that's on you. Tucker made his field goals. Yes, he made his field goals, man. He made his field goals. Got to be feeling good right now. I'm feeling fantastic. I am feeling fantastic. I'm glad we beat the Steelers, man. I was tired of losing to these dudes every single year. Finally beat the Steelers at home. Because they've come here like the last 3 years and they keep beating us at home. When's the last time we beat the Steelers at home? Because we beat them in 2022, but it was in Pittsburgh. We didn't beat them last year at home. We didn't beat them the year before. So it wasn't 23, wasn't 22, wasn't 21 or 20. 2019, we did not beat them at home. 2018, we lost. Was it 2017? No, it wasn't. No. Was it 2017? 2017 might have been the last time we beat the Steelers at home. Or maybe it was 2016 or 2017 is the last time. I think it was 2016 because I think, well, other than tonight, it was 2016 because that was the Mike Wallace 95-yard touchdown. We won that game. So I think that was the last time when Mike Wallace went for 95. But I'm glad to get that win. I'm glad to get that win. I watched Falele get fireman carried. That's hilarious. Play action passes and read option. Feed Derrick Henry early. We've got the formation. We didn't beat them in 2019. They beat us at home. Oh, wait, no. We won that game in 2019, right? We won that game in 2019 to go 14-2. You guys are right. Appreciate you guys. You guys always give me the right facts. We beat them in 2019 to secure. Well, we secured the number 1 seed, went 13-2. That final game, we won to go to 14-2. So you're right. We did win that game. What the?
Y'all did win the game.
Oh, yeah, y'all definitely won the game.
What the hell are y'all doing?
Hey!
My bike. Okay, we're good. We're good. So, yeah, that just happened. I don't know who knocked it out, but one of them knocked out my microphone. Well, clearly you see I got something to do afterwards. So I'm going to wrap this up, finish up y'all questions, and we going to head on out. Let y'all enjoy the rest of y'all holidays. What else was being said here? Henry has to be using dual threat and dual way running the ball. Also use him in the passing game. Absolutely.
Queen was talking all that trash we don't want to hear. You're my sister. She was calling Queen garbage. So he talked that trash, and they didn't back it up today. Lamar got the franchise record for passing touchdowns, right? Yeah, he got it. He already had it at 36. He just passed his own mark at 37. He'll finish with 40 touchdown passes. Derek Mason got 1,000 yards with a broken arm. Derek Mason is a beast. I wish we would have had him in this era. Lamar is our best quarterback in history. Yeah, we know he's the best quarterback in history, but you got to win a Super Bowl to stamp that, because Flacco won a Super Bowl. You need that at least. Kyle and Marlowe are defensive. They're awesome, bro. They're all pros. Humphrey has a career-high 6 interceptions. All-pro Marlowe. This is better than 2019. That was a huge play when they were about to go up 14-7. Shout out to our Dates Washington. Hope y'all win the AFC North. Thanks, man. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. Johnson is a locker room cancer. They're going to have to settle for somebody. I don't know if you remember me. I said yesterday Houston would be the one if he gets signed. Hey, Ahmad, you're right about that. I didn't think about Houston. I didn't think about that. But you're right about that. Now they have to go get him. So you're right about that. We'll see. We could beat anybody playing like this. Absolutely. Didn't really allow a sack today, if I recall. They gave up one. It was on the strip sack. I got news for you. Lamar isn't taking you anywhere. That's great, Mark. You're entitled to your opinion. I don't care. I'm not going to say I don't care. You're entitled to your opinion, Mark. We'll just see how it works out. The best part about sports is these athletes get to prove us right or wrong as fans. So if we go out there and we don't win anything, you got proven right. If they go out there and they win, you got proven wrong. It's sports. So you're entitled to your opinion. It's fine. Finally, they got fireman carried is funny. Monken's speech got them acting right. No, they still fumbled the ball a bunch in this game. They just didn't lose them. Call it karma for the casual Steeler fans talking hella whack all season long. Hopefully they lose the division. Congrats on the win, but LeBron keeps showing everyone age is just a number. Shout out to LeBron for being LeBron. I mean, 20-plus years, he's still doing what he does. But the Steelers upset the Chiefs, which I doubt. It opens up the door for the Bengals to sneak in. That would be funny. Actually, no. Would it? Because a Chiefs loss doesn't change anything here. They need the Broncos and they need the Broncos to lose out. They need the Dolphins to lose 2 games. They need a bunch of stuff. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, 2019 was when we got it done. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for you guys. Denver better tighten up, or the Bengals might come up there and steal your spot. Guess what? Denver faces off against Cincinnati next week. Denver has all the opportunity to go win that game. If they lose it, they know their season's on the line. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, this has been fun. We got the win. We're in the playoffs. I will talk to y'all later. I'm going to head on out. I'm going to spend some time with my family. My cousins all came in here. Y'all saw. I'm going to head on out. I'm going to go chill out. But yeah, Ravens got the win. It's all good. Bengals need a lot to happen, but Chiefs losing to the Steelers isn't one of them. True. But yeah, I'm going to head on out. Appreciate you guys. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Obviously, I'll be here for the Christmas game against the Texans, which that'll be a whole nother thing. And I will probably see you guys tomorrow, maybe, or maybe Monday. We'll see where we're at. Oh, it's saying the Chiefs will start their starters if they lose. Yeah, which could potentially affect that final game against Denver, which is fair. But yeah, Happy Holidays, guys. Merry Christmas. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I will talk to y'all later. I might make another video to talk about the Ravens getting in the playoffs, but that's got to be tomorrow or Monday. I got time next week, so we'll be doing that next week and a bunch of other stuff. But you guys take care. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm out of here. Be sure to stay safe. Peace out. See you later, guys.